7th, 2023. Please call roll.
Commissioner Rossi,
Here.
Commissioner Holland,
Here.
Commissioner Sheard,
Here.
Commissioner Jensen,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Jenkins.
Here.
Chairperson Durling.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. This is a time to open public communication. This is a time to address the commission about any item not listed on the agenda. Do we have anyone here that wishes to speak on items not on the agenda?
Vice Chairperson Jenkins, I do not have any blue speaker cards.
Thank you. We'll begin the public hearing. With item 2, staff report, please.
Yes, Commissioners. Wes Irvin, Principal Planner. The item before you is a cell tower replacement project at 60 East Grand for Horvath Towers and a T-Mobile cell tower. This location of this facility is inside the fence line of the existing mini storage that's there, with the ground-mounted equipment inside one of the storage units, so it's not outside. This is going to be a new 95-foot tower, replacing the old 100-foot tower. The 100-foot tower is a flagpole style tower with camouflaged antennae and equipment inside a fiberglass tube so that it doesn't show. However, T-Mobile has been having heating problems with the equipment and have been having a lot of trouble maintaining it. So their plan is to replace it with an antenna array. Normally, what you see in any cell tower with an antenna array on top, but it will be a palm stealth or monopalm pole. Be shaped and look like a palm tree. There's a number of these types of stealth towers in Southern California where palm trees are much more rampant. But in this case, a palm was chosen because we have La Palma Avenue right next door, which is lined with palms. And we have lots and lots of palm trees around as existing vegetation and street trees. So staff suggested that they do this monopalm style, and that's what they've provided for us. Since the Development Review Committee meeting, which we had, there were no comments by the Development Review Committee. The applicant has sent us an email saying that they have to install a cow, which is a cell on wheels, so that they can maintain uninterrupted cell service while they're working on the replacement of the pole. There'll be full replacement of the pole and such. So that is condition number 1 on page 30 of your package, so that the location and placement of the cow, we make sure it has owner's permission if it's inside or outside the fence, and that it's okay for staging by the building department and by us. So that's the only addition. The rest is self-explanatory, I believe. Nicole Komach, who is processing this application, is on Zoom, I believe. And Nicole, if you're there, do you have other people with you?
Yes, Jacob Hamilton is part of the applicant as well. We're here to answer any questions you might have.
And it's also traditional to invite the applicant to speak a little bit if you want. Spend a couple of minutes talking about the project. It's your option.
I think that you pretty much summed up the project and what we're proposing, and we did follow through with proposing the monopine as it did look better with the trees surrounding that area. But everything sounded good to me.
Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. We'll open for public hearing, open for public comment, and seeing no one to comment, we'll close public comment, limit discussion between commissioners and staff. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I guess my only question is there any other change from the Development Review Committee other than the cow?
No.
Okay.
If there's no more questions or comments, open to motion.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please open voting.
Motion carries with 5 yeses and 1 absent.
Thank you. Item was approved.
I like the palm tree idea. I haven't seen that yet. So I think that'll be cool.
It'll blend right in with
Yeah,
the rest
no,
of the environment.
Yeah, I don't usually like that idea, but it's full, it's palm trees
Yeah.
throughout in that area, so that
Much
fits,
better
so.
than just the old pole.
Yeah.
Much better.
So I'm used to being at Paradise and seeing the pine tree,
Yes.
or the
yes,
fir tree.
Exactly. It's like, that's an awful
ones. That's what
straight
I'm
tree.
used to seeing.
I wish the one on the levee was, what do they call them? Mock or, no, stealth. I wish the one we had here on the levee was stealth, but I guess we just have to wait for it to get replaced. Then maybe it'll become stealth. I see it right from my kitchen windows. It's just,
Commissioner reports.
So I have a commissioner report. So I attended the Planning Commissioner Workshop on April 14th that was over here at the County Center. And I just want to share some observations, I guess, from that here. And if there was any discussion or questions, I think my first comment is that it's not very common when we get a workshop training opportunity like this that doesn't require any travel. It's right here in town. And I made sure to introduce myself to the Butte County planners there and thank them on our behalf for hosting that here, because that was really, really convenient. Even though it's an all-day workshop and not everybody, I recognize that not everybody can do that, but it's, we have to take advantage of those opportunities, I think, when they come along. So, my observations are also, related to my background, that I have a planning degree from 25 years ago, and having no idea what's changed since then. And, everybody telling me, oh, things have changed so much. But I think my first comment is, gosh, it doesn't seem like things have changed that much after just getting the basic introduction and, the history of planning and the authority that the state, gives authority to local jurisdictions to regulate land use, and we do that through our land use codes and zoning codes and whatnot, and and that we do this just to so that we can have some guidelines and enforce them, but have things set in stone and standard so that builders know what to expect and are able to get projects developed and built a lot easier than if we didn't have that. So some of the things that I've learned, well, I think one thing here is that there was a discussion about the commission working with staff, and it made me realize something, at least what I do or have done, that I would probably going to start doing, I think, a little differently. Is if I have I'm reviewing something and I have an observation, like I've had an observation about zoning before, and questioning why something's zoned this way, that I should give staff a heads up if I'm having that observation, instead of having that come cold, here, and, I'm not expecting a response if I'm saying that. I'm just kind of saying things that I'm noticing that we might want to look at. But in the future, if I have that, I'll go ahead and give you guys a heads up if I'm going to be mentioning anything. I think it'll be, yeah. And so, sorry if I felt like I'd put anybody on.
No, that's okay. That gives us the opportunity to provide a thorough response.
Correct. That's absolutely right.
We happen to agree with you that the zoning around Walmart and down on 7th and such is kind of messed up a little bit, so we should look at that.
Agreed.
Okay. Let's see. There was a considerable talk about CEQA, an environmental review, and that if there, if there is any kind of a significant impact from an environmental review, and we'd had this conversation before, that it doesn't mean it kills a project, that we just have to have a statement of overriding consideration. So this project's going to produce some traffic on our roadway. That's a significant impact, but they're providing 200 high-paying jobs. That's an overriding consideration. We can take a few more cars if we're all a little bit better off economically, that kind of thing. There was a big conversation about housing laws. HCD had a representative to come and speak, and she says, "Oh, don't shoot the messenger, don't shoot the messenger," and try to kind of explain what the state is trying to do to get more housing in California, and that they have these housing allocation. What is it? Whatever it's called, that you have to plan for a certain amount of housing to go into
Regional housing needs in our housing element.
Yeah. So trying to explain that and making sure that everybody understands that the state's not trying to tell them that they can't do what they don't want to do, and I don't see any of that as a problem here. It's just my observation. And that compliance with HCD is tied to federal or tied to funding and incentive programs, which I'm assuming it sounds like we take advantage of here.
Millions of
hearing.
dollars annually.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, and from what previous conversations, I just wanted to ask about it, I guess. There was a conversation about the online participation that was interesting because it was kind of new to me. That participation of commissioners, it's allowed if the meeting has to be posted at wherever the commissioner's location is, and Daniel and I had a talk about at the end, and I didn't get a chance to go back and look like I was hoping to, but I guess we have a policy about that.
There's a couple, Danny reached out to me about this a little bit earlier. There's a couple different regulations related to participation online. So the standard protocol prior to COVID was that if you posted an agenda wherever you were, left the door unlocked, and allowed people to come in and attend wherever you were, and we listed the address in the agenda, you could attend remotely. And so that was pre-COVID. That's what it sounds like you're talking about as far as that goes.
There was considerable disagreement in the meeting as to what was what was legal and what was not.
There is a new regulation, though, that was put in place after COVID that is currently in place, and that is related to, there's an emergency circumstances clause, basically, where, and there's like 5 or 6 options, like if you are sick, if you have a childcare issue, if you're away on official business, that the commission can make a determination to allow you to attend remotely without posting your location or allowing people in, but you have to define why it is that you're not there, and then the commission votes, and if 2/3 approves it, you can attend remotely. So that is what's currently, in addition to the old regulation that's still in place, this is the other avenue that you can take to participate remotely as a commissioner.
Which sounds like a real pain unless it's something that you absolutely have to
We've had the situation arise. A couple of our council members have been on official business for like another school district or for like the Butte County Housing Authority. And so they would attend remotely from Washington, D.C. or wherever they were. And all they had to do was state, I'm attending remotely because I'm away on official government business for the Butte County Housing Authority. And so, I mean, it can be simple. Where it gets in the weeds is like if your kid's sick and that's why you're attending remotely, because then you have to publicly state that that's why you're attending.
Okay. Yeah, because Daniel and I weren't too sure. I think we just wanted to ask and check to make sure that we're.
If you are ever in a
We're all out in the up and
situation
up.
where it's a very important meeting and you don't feel that you could miss it and you need to attend remotely, reach out to me, because I always verify with our attorney that your circumstance meets the criteria. And he's always very prompt in responding to me so that you guys have that information.
So this might be an opportunity to have Carl attend some of our meetings. He probably wouldn't be able to chair remotely. That would be impossible probably for anybody, but he might be able to attend if we set that up properly.
He was on the fence about this one, so I think
Was
he's
he?
getting better.
Oh,
He's
that's
just not
what's getting better.
fully
Okay.
able to come back yet.
All right. And then also Daniel attended. I don't know if you have additional comments that you think is important for us to hear, or
I would say, yeah, the discussion about CEQA was definitely
that's what I was going to look up. Yeah.
the discussion about CEQA was definitely valuable, and so was the review of the Brown Act. They cautioned commissioners against site visits in person and posting about projects on social media or even via email to avoid a Brown Act
What do you mean
violation.
site
What
visits?
do you mean by that?
You could go and see the site from the public right of way, but entering private property is they advised against that.
That's right. They said be careful about trespassing.
Right.
But if you had
But if it's an
permission,
open, I mean, you don't want to go in someone's backyard.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're going to go,
Right. Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
And
from the public right away.
Some of the
Yeah, it's on-
attendees
yeah.
claimed that in their planning commission initiation meetings that they were told specifically not to visit sites. But
Well, that
uh,
doesn't
there
make
was-
any sense.
That doesn't make any sense at all. And I think we think that was just somebody misinterpreting something that somebody else had written.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm in violation because I've gone to a lot of these
Yeah.
places
Well,
and
I
checked
visit
them
every
out
site.
before the
don't
meeting.
know about it. until-
Yeah.
I think it's in consideration of you scheduling a meeting, going to the property, and then there being more than
Yeah, more than, yeah.
one or two of you that do it.
Yeah, if you're doing it as a group or or
Field
if we
trip,
went
maybe?
together, yeah. Is what they were cautioning against.
That's all that I would add.
Okay.
So
Thanks, Daniel.
I'd like to echo what Don said, is that staff is available and welcomes questions about any issue or any agenda item from planning commissioners in advance of the meeting, heads up on their concerns so that staff has a chance to potentially address some of those concerns. And according to the Brown Act, we can meet individually with each commissioner. We just cannot make a recommendation or provide information that would sway a commissioner's vote or opinion on something, but we can certainly answer questions of fact. So we are available to do that at any time.
All right, and then my final is a general observation that apparently our city is held in regard amongst folks who work with us or know us. So this is really a compliment to our planning staff, because it was somebody who was sitting behind me who also it was on commission up in Red Bluff, but their employer does development projects. And when I was introduced with them, it says, "Oh, you're from Oroville. Oh, I got that project through in only 6 months. It usually takes a year, 18 months. How do you guys do it?" And I'm like, "It was all set up before I got here. It's I don't know."
That's good
But
to hear.
you guys got some compliments, and I want to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Do we have any historical advisory commission reports?
Yeah, I guess just an update, but you all probably know, we toured the Swain Lumber Home. Just a few of you missed it. These four, I think.
You missed it.
Anyway, but that was part of our meeting for our Historic Preservation Award. And so I'm assuming that we're going to be meeting again in a month, because I'm feeling like we're there. We're really close. We can start really, I mean, I want to nominate them, and I didn't tell them that, but for the award. And then we have to just do whatever other process there is. So I guess the update is that we're progressing, and I know it's taking a long time, but I think we're wrapping this up.
I agree. And thank you for setting that up. That was a wonderful visit. Great
welcome.
historical piece to really
Yeah.
take in.
Yeah. It's a good example.
Definitely.
Thank you. Do we have any staff reports?
Yes, upcoming agenda items, we have a full schedule coming up. For the Development Review Committee, we'll be reviewing a pre-application for the rezone of 2255 Bird Street to a multifamily. That's the old Western Motor Lodge. And he has submitted some elevations, preliminary concepts, so we'll review the design as well. There will be a new portable building for the Head Start at 1421 Bird Street. That'll also be a development review. We'll have a use permit for a tire shop on Olive Highway, 3163 Olive Highway, mixed at a corridor mixed use, which requires a use permit for the tire shop. There will be another use permit for vehicle storage on Olive Highway, 3022 Olive Highway. That's the old Grant's swimming hole. That'll be used as an office and temporary vehicle storage of operable vehicles. There will be a use permit for a digital display sign at the Southside Community Center, and a review of the new proposed well on Feather River Boulevard between Bird Street and Spruce Alley. Also, Development Review Committee will be a review of the Ford dealership facade remodel and a 6,000 square foot shop at 5522A Baggett Marysville Road.
That is full. Yeah.
Those will all be
you
at
guys are gonna be
DRC,
busy.
and
Plan some extra shine.
those will all be at
Yeah,
DRC.
If we could definitely get the packet on the Friday,
We'll be shooting
as soon as
for
we can. Yeah.
a week at least
Yeah.
in advance.
Thank you.
Those will be next year's, and then
Right, so the ones,
following.
right, Planning Commission,
What date is that?
the ones that will continue, I'm sorry?
No, how many will be?
So that there's 3 use permits, those will continue on, and then the rezone is just a pre-application. We'll see that again at a later month, not the following Planning Commission date. It's just going to be a pre-application, and then that'll get revisited another time. So 3 to Planning Commission.
And that's on the 19th. What's that? 26?
Is what the,
Oh, yeah.
There's one other thing to add, the housing element, the final draft was approved by the city council on last Tuesday, a week ago, and it was submitted early this week to HCD for certification. They've already sent us a letter that they would certify it. So it's now approved and submitted, so we should have a certified housing element, so we won't have to worry about
Losing
the funding,
millions.
losing money, yeah. Yes. You
Isn't
want
it online?
hard copies, or would you like it electronically? It's 296 pages.
It is electronically uploaded to the website in the last agenda for the council meeting.
We'll also be posting it on our webpage, too.
have the apartments on Lincoln broke ground? I heard about some clearing and
They
grading.
have staged on Monday, and they're supposed to have started breaking ground for their grading on Tuesday.
They did the lower section.
Okay.
Or the lower portion of the parcel.
That's pretty quick. What about any idea when the orange barriers are gonna get removed on Table Mountain? I was hoping that would be before Feather Fiesta Days.
They still
but-
have frontage to finish there. It's all of that frontage is tied to phase two, so phase two is still under construction, so they still have more landscaping, so they're keeping that as access at this point.
Excellent.
And any word on the Veterans Village on Montgomery?
They are still waiting for more of those units to be sold so that they can construct, but the
Okay.
market isn't conducive for good sales right now.
Any more questions or comments?
Well, let me make one more announcement for the awareness of the Planning Commission. Staff has been working with APA, the American Planning Association, the California chapter. They have a program where they do pro bono visits to disadvantaged communities for the purpose of planning and revitalization and other kinds of expert observations, and they make a report. We have asked them to come up to look at South Oroville in particular, and as you know, we annexed that area in 2015 as is from the county without doing any significant zoning or other kind of analysis. And because of COVID, because of the recession and a number of other things, staff has always wanted to pay attention to that area, but hasn't really had the resources. So this hopefully will give the city an opportunity to do sort of a master strategy for how to revitalize the area. They're going to look and tell us whether they think we can create a viable village there at Myers and Lower Wyandotte in that area, and some rezoning suggestions and such. They'll be coming in and doing a charrette with the workshop with the community, and we'll publicly notice that, so any commissioners that would like can attend that and weigh in on that. That is likely to be late June or early July now. We're taking it to the city council on next Tuesday for approval. The city does have to cover travel costs, but travel costs only, and the rest is getting some really good expertise coming in and giving us some good information about South Oroville.
What's the viable?
One that has more than a bar and a glass plant. Commercially, and the city bought a parcel in hopes that maybe we could start the process of generating a really nice mixed-use, walkable village kind of thing, and so there'll be lots of ideas floating around there.
Maybe we can recruit somebody to the planning commission who's from that area.
There
'cause
you
we
go.
could use some representation to help inform us what they want down there. Yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
And Glenn, to your question also, in 2006, I think it was the Milton Design Group, did some work. It wasn't them, it was somebody else. Did some work and gave us a really nice streetscape plan with median strips and landscaping and all of that in that area for Southside.
Yeah.
And we've dug that up so that we can provide that, and that could be part of the mix for the discussion.
I think one thing is to go through and finish getting half buildings, and that's one thing to do. Is
And it's happening a little bit at a time. There's developers that are going through and rehabbing a lot of the older homes.
get some, yeah, I don't know, because that's in the city now, right? So we can at least, if we can go through there and change it a little bit, I think, you can have the affordable homes in there for the it's within that price range. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And with those substandard lots that we've now rezoned the setbacks on, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, if there's a way to partner with, I don't want to say Habitat for Humanity, but I mean, with building some of those types of homes that can be sold,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
On those substandard lots, 40-foot wider wide lots or whatever,
Yeah.
you know?
There's contractors and developers, again, that are working on that, and that's also where we recently completed the blight study that identifies all those properties that just need rehab work or that need complete demolition and reconstruction. So that is another tool that we have to take that next step to doing those things.
One of the submittals that we expect on Monday is a two-story house, which is on a R1 lot, on a 1,700 square foot lot, which will be a downstairs home of about 500 square feet and an upstairs junior ADU of a little less than 500 square feet on that very, very small lot. And it's by a developer who has built several small little cottage style projects like this, and we're kind of excited about that. That won't have to come to the planning commission or for approval. It'll be an administrative approval, but we are getting interest, as Don says, for projects like that.
But they were creative in making it a usable lot for two dwellings, which is positive, so.
Just two separate units in it. ADU on the second story. Wow, that is
Definitely.
They're really excited about the prospect of getting new development and new people into their neighborhood and help revitalize it. So this is,
well, again, I think it's so important if you get rid of the vacant, half-burnt, dilapidated properties out there, you know, you'll keep the squatters out,
Yes.
for lack of a better term, because we've had a hell of a time getting someone out of one. I had to pull a big old motorhome in there and had to tow it out to the diesel
Yeah.
to get out of there.
And that's where having our code enforcement department tackling that has been really important.
Yeah.
It's a process because there's timelines for notification of clearing.
But I think all the COVID moratoriums on evictions have been lifted, right? So we don't have any more
Yeah,
of those.
yeah. COVID federally has been
Yeah.
lifted.
So, but that's great. Anytime we can get interest in Southside to any kind of new development.
Yeah,
And that area over there on Myers,
Yeah.
there, that old commercial center, that's, they just had a fire.
yeah. We'd love to see that too.
Well, we will adjourn to May 25th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
Where did Grant Pool move? Did they go with us or?